Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out what will the world look like in 250 million years. It's an adorable sheep.
This episode of MapMen is brought to you by Stereo.
Peru next to Australia,
Mozambique joined to India.
Malaysia in Antarctica.
Today we'll be asking, where will the countries be in 250 million years?
Welcome to MapMen,
We're the men.
and here's the map.
Going so slow.
When Mark and I hang out together, one of the things we often discuss...
We never hang out, this is a purely business relationship.
One of the things we would discuss is how disappointingly few double landlocked countries there are. Countries that are not only landlocked, but surrounded by landlocked countries.
There's Uzbekistan, there's Liechtenstein, and that's it.
This is because the world's major
Really?
landmasses are nicely spread out across the world's oceans, and the furthest you can ever get from a coastline is
What was
just
that?
1,600 miles. Here,
What was
spread out
that?
across the world's oceans. And
Damn, okay, let's see.
It.
this is because the world's major landmasses are nicely
We'll get it.
spread
Come on.
oceans.
Okay. Well, it's a combination of that and the fact that having access to the sea is really important for a country to thrive and not be conquered by its neighbors. So any territory that finds itself double landlocked probably won't last as an independent country for long. Anyway, don't worry about that. The point still stands about the way the world's landmass is spread out. I appreciate that.
This is because the world's major landmasses are nicely spread out across the world's oceans, and the furthest you can ever get from a coastline is just 1,600 miles, here in the un-Chinese sounding Gurban-Tungut Desert in China.
But the continents haven't always been this well socially distanced.
180 million years ago, before the Second and First World Wars, the world looked like this.
Of course, the dinosaurs who were in charge at the time knew nothing of the theory of plate tectonics that were about to drive them apart.
It wasn't until the year
Who is that? Who's this man? Who is that? Who is this man? Well, I'm not sure who it is, but they're calling him a dinosaur, which is funny. But they've got that original dinosaur from that original animation from 100 years ago. They've got Dino from the Flintstones, the baby from that dinosaur show in the 90s or late 80s, Barney, of course, Yoshi from Mario, that dinosaur from the Toy Story, a couple that I recognize. Yeah, I don't know all these. They got Loch Ness Monster on there.
It wasn't until the year 1915 collided with the person Alfred Wegener that this new and groundbreaking idea took hold.
On the left of this graph, at the top they have Cookie Monster, then Billy Baldwin, Alfred Wegener, who we're talking about now, Dua Lipa, Noel Edmonds, and Angela Lansbury. Who's Noel Edmonds? English television presenter, radio DJ, writer, producer, and businessman. Never heard of him. Top of the Pops, I've heard of that. Okay.
Alfred was a super smart German meteorologist and geophysicist who was particularly good at puzzles. And looking at the world map, Alfred spotted a pattern. The shape of South America fits suspiciously snugly into West Africa. Could it be that the continents fitted together in a sort of puzzle of their own?
Many of the pieces of this puzzle were missing, having been eroded over millions of years. But Alfred realised this particular puzzle had legacy written all over it and set out to prove that their interlocking shapes weren't a coincidence.
He started by looking at rocks and realised that the rocks on the east coast of South America were, in many places, identical to the rocks on the west coast of Africa. An encouraging bit of evidence, but rocks alone weren't solid enough. So next, Alfred studied the fossil record.
There was evidence of the exact same species of dinosaur living on separate continents, vast oceans apart. He found fossils of the Lystrosaurus in Africa, Antarctica, and here in India.
He's really in India. Is he? What is this? C&K Tower. Is that in India? Let's see. Okay. Looks like he may have been right here. Yeah. Wow. This is the road he was on. There's the tower sign. He was really in India. Mark Cooper Jones. They must have been already filming this, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be in India." So his hair is looking really good in this bit. I wish he kept his hair.
It was thunderingly unlikely that this unique Triassic animal could have evolved on 3 separate occasions. The more logical explanation was that these landmasses must once have been connected.
Thunderingly.
Using his new theory called continental drift, or Kontinentalverschiebung for long, Wegener mapped exactly how the continents fitted together millions of years ago.
He called this supercontinent Pangaea.
Greek for all the earth.
The theory went thus. North and South America were once attached to modern-day Africa, but they broke apart, forming the Atlantic Ocean.
And India was once attached to Antarctica, but it broke off and smashed into Asia with such force it made the Himalayan mountain range.
So India was way down there in the South Africa, like next to Antarctica, and it just raced all the way up to China. In America, there's a split. It split apart. That's nuts. Africa split apart. I know in America there's a mountain range right there, the Rocky Mountains. And in Africa, is there a mountain range there in Africa? Thanks to NordVPN, my internet thinks that I'm in Chicago, but I'm not. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All of that. That makes sense. Okay. Yes. What about Africa? There's a split. Not as obvious of a split. There's a little remnant right there. I guess this is a mountain. I mean, you sort of see it. There's definitely something going on there. Something I really think is cool in Africa is this Eye of Africa, this giant circle thing. Some people think that's where Atlantis was. You can see it from space. It's gigantic. Anyway, I'm digressing. Back to the video.
Everyone else at the time roundly disagreed with him, as at the time people always do. He froze to death in Greenland before anyone took his stupid theory seriously.
Okay, well, I have to read that. The Daily News, since 1900, your daily favorite, November 30th, 1930. Bad geologist freezes to death. Alex Wegener, the idiot who thought all the continents used to be one big supercontinent, has died at the tender age of 50. He was last seen in Greenland, probably doing some more bad research for his wrong theory. Alfred is not highly regarded in the scientific community, and the only reason we're dedicating this headline to his demise is because nothing else really important happened today. Hang on, just a minute. Hello? Really? Oh, wow. Yes, I'll let them know straight away. Bye. Right. News has just come in that they've discovered a new planet in our solar system, even further away than Neptune. Damn. That would have made a much better headline. How do you press delete on the stupid 1930s machine? No, that's not it. No, that's not it either. Oh well. Might as well stick with this Alfred Wegener story then. Am I saying his name right? Probably not. Alfred Wegener, pronounced Wegener, was born in Germany. He started out as a baby. But with perseverance, he got bigger and bigger and bigger and will one day be a grown-up. Oh, until one day he was a grown-up. Wegener first became interested in science at an early age, but had become interested in science at a much later age. Wait, what? Wegener first became interested in science at an early age, but he last became interested in science at a much later age. It is estimated that most of Wegener's interest in science took place during the ages in between those two extremes. In addition, his work as a geologist, Wegener, all my lines covering it up. Wegener enjoyed several extracurricular activities and hobbies, including brushing his teeth, having a nice warm shower, eating a hearty breakfast, and putting his coat on before leaving the house. Wegener regularly traveled from his home in Germany to his office. He buckled his seatbelt, turned the key in the ignition, checked his mirrors, checked his blind spot, released the handbrake, and carefully joined the oncoming traffic. He then took the second exit at the roundabout, following the sign that said Wegener's office this way. It was while working as a geologist that Alfred came up with his incorrect theory about continents, but it was during dinner with his wife that he used to bang on about it the most. Oh God, I just had a quick look at his Wikipedia and got to the section about how he died, and now I feel really bad for being so glib about it. Turns out he died while returning from an expedition to bring food to a group of researchers camped in the middle of an ice cap. He supplied the camp successfully, but there wasn't enough food at the camp for him to stay there. What a nice guy. Sorry, Alfred Wegener. Here's to Alfred Wegener. Wow. They took the time to write all that, and it just flashes on the screen for a few seconds. Those map men. I tell you what.
He froze to death in Greenland before anyone took his stupid theory seriously.
But years later, while he was still dead, scientists happened upon something that proved Alfred was right. They discovered how continents were able to move, something Alfred had never bothered to work out. They found that convection currents in the mantle, or hot bit beneath the Earth's crust, slowly drive land masses apart, then back together again, over cycles of about 500 million years.
This meant that Pangaea, far from being the original supercontinent, was actually the 11th to have formed in Earth's history.
So if the continents are still moving,
Was actually the 11th to have formed in Earth's history.
So at the bottom, there's the shape of a pineapple, the Batman signal, and the Jamiroquai logo.
So if the continents are still moving, which they are, the obvious and exciting question becomes,
When are the dinosaurs coming back?
where are the continents going next?
The best way of understanding where we might end up is to take a good look at which way the convection currents are currently flowing all under the world.
And where better to start than the most tectonically active place on the planet? The Australia plate has, as you can see, moved
really?
northwards a massive 3.5 metres in the last 50 years.
Really?
At 7 centimetres a year, this makes it the fastest moving tectonic plate on Earth.
This movement is actually causing chaos on GPS systems here in Australia. The data points still used today were fixed
It's
way back in
snowing.
1994
He
when
says
the
he's in
country was a full
Australia.
1.8 metres further southwest than it is now,
Nice.
which can be the difference between the right lane and the pavement.
The effects of Australia's movement are already being felt across fiery Indonesia, where the subduction of the Australia plate under the Sunda plate has forged some of the most active volcanoes in the world, like Mount Merapi, which some of the best people in the world are known to have climbed. Sorry. As Australia continues north, it's expected to make a handbrake turn to the left as it gobbles up Papua New Guinea before absolutely smashing into China. So
Wow.
Beijing and Shanghai may find themselves 8,000 metres up on top of a new mountain range as big as the Himalayas.
Meanwhile, in the Western Hemisphere, the Nubian and Somali plates will split apart along the East African Rift Valley, a process which has already begun, as demonstrated by this massive crack which appeared in Kenya in 2018.
Oh,
Over the
wow.
next few million years, we can expect a new sea to appear here. The big bit of Africa will continue to head north towards Europe, so get ready for the Alps to get bigger and the Mediterranean to disappear.
Oh,
Somewhere
wow.
between 1 and 200 million years from now, and yes, that really is the kind of
What's up
margin
with his
that we're dealing
eyebrows?
with, Antarctica will slowly make its way to join the big collision party alongside Australia and Southeast Asia.
Leaving only the Americas, which are travelling in a westerly
His eyebrows
direction,
too.
widening the Atlantic and shrinking the Pacific into non-existence. You can see North America here, nicely spooning Australia, with South America cozying
Spooning.
up to now tropical Antarctica, finishing off our big continental group hug.
Aw, isn't that nice?
Each clip, their eyebrows get bigger and bigger. I'm not sure I understand why, but I like it.
Scientists call this future supercontinent Novo Pangaea.
Latin and Greek for New All the Earth.
Imagine that, one happy connected island with no oceans to divide us. But how sure can we be that this is exactly how it's going to pan out?
Positively unsure. Even with all the data and powerful computer modelling in the world, there's a decent chance the experts have got it wrong.
Novo Pangaea is merely what would happen if the convection currents in the mantle carry on exactly as they are and don't change. But some
Right.
really radical scientists have come up with some different models for how the world could look.
First, there's Aurica, or Aurica, where Eurasia splits in half and both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans close up.
Then there's Pangaea Ultima, the name which sounds most like a terrible Bond film, where Britain gets closer to America.
And finally, there's Amasia, where all the continents congregate around the North Pole, except Antarctica, who, no matter what the model is always the laziest continent. Watching the world's land masses slowly cycle around the globe as millions of years tick by is a nice reminder of our own utterly insignificant place within the universe.
Which is why we recommend sharing this video with any self-important friends you may have as a way of reminding them how crushingly unimportant they really are.
Of course, wondering where countries will be in 250 million years assumes countries and even humans will last that long.
Right now, it seems the chances of us surviving more than a few meters of continental drift are incredibly unlikely as we grapple with overpopulation, climate change, pandemics, wars, pollution, and mass extinction.
But if we do somehow survive and find ourselves living side by side on a supercontinent packed with double landlocked countries, we're at least going to have to figure out how to be nicer to one another and extend the olive branch of human
Wow.
friendship.
So, fancy a pint?
Yeah.
I'm not really thirsty.
Another great Matmin video? Yeah, I don't know if we'll survive 250 million years. We like to kill each other. We'll probably kill each other off. A lot of bad things going on in the world, but we can pull through. I think we can do it, y'all. I think we can do it. If you're watching this and you're an extraterrestrial alien with advanced technology that could probably help us, come on, help us out. Help us out. In return, we'll declare war on you. But that just, we need help with that too. Anyway, Jay Foreman, Mark Cooper Jones, thanks for another wonderful video. These guys are always great. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.